Sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam Yat vishpruhran makarakundala valgitena Vidyotitatmala kapolam udaranasam Vrityanukampita diyeha grihita murte Sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam Yad vispruran makarakundala valgitena Vidyotitatmala kapolam udaranasam Vrityanukampita diyeha grihita murte Sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam Yad vispruran makarakundala valgitena Vidyotitamala kapolam udaranasam Kampita diyeha grihita murte Sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam Yad vispuran makarakundala valgitena Vrityanukampita diyeha grihita murte Sanchintayet bhagavato vadanarvindam Yat vispruran makarakundala valgitena Vidyotitatmala kupala dharanasam. Word to word meaning, Bhritya, for the devotees, Anukampita diya, out of compassion, Iha, in this world, Grihita Murte, who presents different forms, Sanchintayet, one should meditate on, Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, Vadana, countenance, Aravindam, lotus-like, Yat, Vish, Vishpruran, glittering, Makara, alligator-shaped, Kundala, of his earrings, Valgitena, by the oscillation, Vidyodita, illuminated, Amala, crystal clear, Kapolam, his cheeks, Udara, prominent, Nasam, his nose, Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents His different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and His crystal-clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of His glittering, alligator-shaped earrings. Translation responsibly, please repeat. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents His different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and His crystal-clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of His glittering, alligator-shaped earrings. Purport, please hear. The Lord descends to the material world out of His deep compassion for His devotees. There are two reasons for the Lord's appearance or incarnation in the material world. Whenever there is a discrepancy in the discharge of religious principles and there is prominence of irreligion, the Lord descends for the protection of the devotees and the destruction of the non-devotees. When He appears, His main purpose is to give solace to His devotees. He does not have to come Himself to destroy the demons, for He has many agents. Even the external energy Maya has sufficient strength to kill them. But when He comes to show compassion to His devotees, He kills the non-devotees as a matter of course. The Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. There are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one absolute. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Advaita Machyuta Manadim Ananta Rupam, all the different forms of the Lord are one, but some devotees want to see Him in the form of Radha and Krishna. Others prefer Him as Sita and Ramachandra. Others would see Him as Lakshmi Narayana, and others want to see Him as four-handed Narayana, Vasudeva. The Lord has innumerable forms, and He appears in a particular form as preferred by a particular type of devotee. A yogi is advised to meditate upon the forms that are approved by the devotees. A yogi cannot imagine a form for meditation. Those so-called yogis who manufacture a circle, a target, are engaged in nonsense. Actually, a yogi must meditate upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has been experienced by the Lord's pure devotees. Yogi means devotee. Yogis who are not actually pure devotees should follow in the footsteps of devotees. It is especially mentioned here that the yogi should meditate upon the form which is thus approved. He cannot manufacture a form of the Lord. Humajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sma Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Lord Kapila Dev is describing the limb by limb meditation of a Ashtanga yogi, and this meditation is common for Bhakti yogis as well. Meditating on void or meditating on imagined form or a circle, Prabhupada calls it, what does he call it in this purport? Nonsense. That which doesn't have any sense, doesn't make any sense. Why put all the effort of going through all the austerities of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, doing all of that to meditate on something which doesn't produce any result? When such strong words are being used, it is the compassion of the pure devotee upon seeing those who are getting distracted and going away from the main path. Because it takes a very long time for a person to inquire into self-realization, and after having come to the path, what do you meditate on? A circle. And that's why, out of compassion, these harsh words are being used when it's called nonsense. It doesn't make sense. So what makes sense? What is sense? So you're chastising us, calling us nonsense. What is your solution? So we may be challenged. And that is why this beautiful description of the parts of the Lord which are zoomed into and elaborated. Just like we see devotees who come here and take pictures. They have the camera, then there's a general picture, darshan, and then there's a zoomed in picture. They zoom in, you can see the sound, the zoom lens goes in, and then they're fixed, and then they take a picture, then this clicked. That's how you get darshan pictures. So here Bhagavatam is doing that. So generally, so the yogi is asked to have a general meditation and then zoom into each limb and meditate. That's how we began from. Where did we begin from? This section of meditation. Which part of the Lord we started off with? Anyone likes to say? With the feet. Very good. Sanchintayet bhagavatas charanara vindam vajrangusa dvajas saroruha lanchanadyam uktunga rakta vilasan nakachakravalam joshnadabi ragatam mahat hridayandakaram. Why is one asked to meditate on the feet of the Lord long time? Why? Acts like thunderbolt, yes, and as a result, what happens? Shatters the mountain-like sins. Then we saw the water touched from the feet of the Lord. What does that do? Who carries the water touched from the feet of the Lord? Lord Shiva. What does he become by that? Gangadhar. Yeah, he gets the name. He becomes more auspicious. So Shiva, Shivobhu. Then the yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and she is always found massaging the legs and thighs of the Transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. Then after that, the meditation moves to the thighs, which is the storehouse of all energy. So these thighs appear graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Then the yogi should contemplate on his rounded hips. After hips, what next? Navel. Very good. So what is the navel compared to? So navel from, okay, so let me rephrase. So what comes out of the navel? Lotus. So lotus stem, and who is born on top? Lord Brahma. So yogi should meditate on the Lord along with his devotees. So devotees are not left out when we are discussing the Lord's form. Yogi should then concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds. Then the yogi should meditate on the chest, which is the abode of goddess Mahalakshmi. The chest is also a source of transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The yogi should further meditate on the Lord's four arms, which are the source of all powers of the demigods. Then he should concentrate on the polished ornaments. Then the Lord's weapons. What are the Lord's weapons? Weapons. Lotus flower is a weapon? Okay, first comes chakra. Then if we categorize under weapons, then comes club. But then conch and lotus are not weapons, they are for the devotees. So, but from the meditation sequence, Sudarshan Chakra, then the conch, then the club, Kaumodakim Bhagavato Daitam Smareta. What is the club characterized by? What's seen on the club? Something special. Blood. Yeah, so that was discussed yesterday. So then after that, so there is a provision for dealing with the demons, which is the Sudarshan Chakra and the club. And there is also provision for dealing with the devotees, which is the conch and the lotus. So the appearance of the Lord is also reasons for the Lord's appearance also. Two reasons are given in the purport. What are they? Yeah? Yeah, so two reasons. So that's how Srila Prabhupada starts this. He makes a very prominent statement in the first line. The Lord descends to the material world out of his deep compassion for his devotees. So this deep compassion will be one of the themes we discussed today. First we will touch upon the two reasons. The two reasons for the Lord's appearance are incarnation in the material world. What are the Bhagavad Gita verses for that? You all know them? Somebody can quote. And the verse before that? Someone else? Yeah, okay. So 4.7 and 4.8. So let's look at key points from that verse and purport. So prior to that verse in the Gita, Lord establishes that his form is transcendental and I appear by my own Atma Maya. And then he says when he appears, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya. So when there is a glani in Dharma, Dharmasya glanihi and Adharmasya abhyukthanam, when there is a predominance in irreligion. So two reasons. Dharmasya glani, Adharmasya abhyukthanam. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So in that section, Prabhupada elaborates on this point about how the Lord's body is transcendental. He appears by his own transcendental form. The code of conduct is set forward in the Vedas. The Vedas are coming from the Lord, and when the code of conduct is not followed, and he himself comes and establishes Dharma again. In that purport, Prabhupada makes in the last line, what is the mission of the incarnation? Just like for a business you have a mission, vision and all of that, right? So 4.7 purport, last two lines. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. I repeat, the whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. You can come and take darshan. So, having made that point, to arouse Krishna consciousness, when does that arouse? So, for that to arouse, these are emotions. So emotions need a circumstance. What are those circumstances? So that's what comes in the next line in the purport. Such consciousness. Which consciousness? Krishna consciousness. Then this hankering, and then this deep prayers, all of that come in those circumstances. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. What are the circumstances described in this verse? Dharmasya glani, adharmasya abhyuktanam. When there is decline in religion and rise in irreligion. So this is creating a circumstance, and this is creating different circumstances, and this arouses Krishna consciousness, and this is when the devotees call out with feelings. Mother Kunti prays that one who has wealth, Janmaishwarya Shutashri Bihir Etamana Matapuman Naivar Abhidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. When he has got wealth, Janma, Aishwarya, Shutashri, he cannot call out to the Lord with feelings. When all that is taken away, when there is when one is put in danger, so one calls out the Lord with feelings, and these are the circumstances. So when such circumstances come, what happens to your Krishna consciousness? Does it increase or decrease? Increases. So that is favorable. So that's why the purpose of incarnation is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. So having understood this, 4.7, 4.8, Lord says, Paritranaya sadhunam. Tranaya, for the deliverance of who? Of the sadhus, devotees. Vinash, of dushkritas. So that's why we saw 4 hands carrying 2 for devotees, 2 for demons. What is for devotees? Lotus and the conchs. What is for the demons? Club and the chakra, Sudarshan chakra. Kaumodaki and Sudarshan chakra. And in some descriptions within the Bhagavatam, you'll have the Lord coming in 8 hands. And there are deities where you can see the Lord with 8 hands, Ashtabhuja. The town I come from, we have Ashtabhuja Vishnu, Ashtabhuja Perumal, we call him. When he comes to save Lord Gajendra, there's a whole different pastime, not the Gajendra that we regularly hear about. So at that time the Lord comes with 8 hands, and then he has more weapons. But here we are talking about 4 hands. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya sa cha dushkritam. Dharma samstapanartaya. When dharma is not properly samstapana, established, stapana, then samstapana is properly establishing. Stapana is establishing, samstapana is properly establishing. He comes. I appear millennium after millennium. So the first reason is to deliver the pious, and that's the point that's being talked about in today's purport as well. when he appears, which is the Lord, his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. Then the emotion that's going on inside the Lord is deep compassion for his devotees. As far as demons are concerned, he does not have to come himself to destroy the demons, for he has many agents. Even the external energy Maya has sufficient strength to kill them. So in this section of Bhagavad Gita 4.7, 4.8, the Acharyas describe other agents of the Lord, who are the powerful rishis who also establish dharma, and then we have powerful kings, Raja Rishis, who also establish dharma by their strength. Then one may wonder, ask, if they are there, if Maya is there, Raja Rishis are there, kings are there, why are you coming, my dear Lord? So he comes to give solace to his devotees. So that's one reason. And then the previous purport we saw, the circumstances in which he appears draws different emotions, and then the Krishna consciousness increases. The further reasons given for the Lord's descent is that some demons can only be killed by the Lord, like Ravana, Kamsa. So he comes. But the main reason he comes is to have that loving exchange with his devotees. The killing of the demons happens as a byproduct. So to spread dharma, then to spread pure bhakti. That bhakti with meditation on the form of the Lord, with the deity worship of the Lord, this is very relevant to our discussion today, because meditation on the form of the Lord. So if the Lord comes here personally and tells, this is my form, this is how you need to meditate, so then one doesn't have to speculate, should I meditate on a dot or a circle or void, or imagine any form, all forms lead to one. So the Lord comes to spread dharma, to spread pure bhakti yoga with meditation on his transcendental form, with deity worship, to establish Vedic dharma, which cannot be done by others, by Maya Devi or by the Raja Rishis or by the kings. So in this section 4.8, in this purports, even for the next few purports in Bhagavad Gita, Lord will establish who is that incarnation who came to establish pure bhakti. I'll ask the question, who is that incarnation who came to establish pure bhakti? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How did he do it? Nama Sankirtan. So the goal is to give pure bhakti. The process is through Nama Sankirtan. So this is the purpose of the incarnation. So in that section 4.8, Prabhupada also quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita, avatar or incarnation descends from the kingdom of the Lord. So far we have understood the two reasons why he appears: to give solace to his devotees, to kill the demons. Then the form he takes, so we're going to go into the next theme, the form he takes depends on the mood of the devotee. So that's what is being described in this verse which Srila Prabhupada is quoting in his purport 4.8. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name Avatara. So the form of the Lord, are present in the spiritual world eternally, and depending on the mood of his devotee, the Lord takes that particular form. So that's the next theme that's covered in the second paragraph of today's purport. The Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. The Lord shows compassion, the devotee shows love. The Lord appears in a particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. So this is how you see the connection. Eternal forms of the Lord are there in the spiritual world, and when a devotee calls to the Lord with love for a particular type of the form of the Lord, that form descends. And to having made that point, Srila Prabhupada quotes Shastra to prove that there are various forms of the Lord, and these are Anadim, Ananta Rupam. So that's from the Brahma Samhita. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. All different forms of the Lord are one. There are many forms, but some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha Krishna, others prefer to see him as Sita and Ramachandra, others would see him as Lakshmi Narayan, and others want to see him as four-handed Narayana Vasudeva. So who prefer to see the Lord in Radha Krishna form? Any examples? Of course, you. Any other examples? Sorry? All the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Okay. So who likes to see the Lord as Sita Ram? Hanuman. And who like to see the Lord as Lakshmi Narayan? Sri Vaishnavas. Okay. So within the Bhagavatam, we hear the beginning of the Bhagavatam itself, we hear devotees calling out to the Lord with feelings out of danger. One such prominent example comes to my mind is Mother Uttara. Pahi pahi mahayogin devadeva jagatpate nanyantvat abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. When the Brahmastra is coming towards her womb, Mother Uttara runs towards the Lord. Pahi pahi mahayogin devadeva jagatpate. If you don't protect me, mrityu is certain. Even if I die, it's okay, at least protect my child. So that draws a particular type of emotion from the Lord, and Lord immediately enters the womb and protects Parikshit Maharaj from being affected and killed by the Brahmastra. Then we see the next set of prayers of Mother Kunti, where the personal beauty, the fame, form, all of that is being described in detail. We saw that last time. Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline, Namah Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. The face, the feet, all of that is described in detail. And then we saw the navel. Just as the navel is deep, his voice is deep, his compassion for his devotees is also deep. That is why he responds to the prayers of the devotees and gives the much needed solace, which is one of the points Prabhupada mentions in the purport. When Gajendra was calling out to the Lord, which form of the Lord he was trying to call out to? Was it Sita Ram or was it Radha Krishna? Four-handed Vishnu form. So in his set of prayers he says, Yoga randita karmano hridi yoga vibhavite yogino yam prapashyanti yogesham tam natosmyaham. So Gajendra's prayers begin with Shri Gajendra Uvacha Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai Yata Etat Sitatmakam Purushayadi Bijaya Pareshayabi Dhimahi. So in that set of prayers, so he addresses Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai. Then this particular prayer talks about the yogis. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme, the Super Soul, the master of all mystic yoga, who is seen in the core of the heart by perfect mystics when they are completely purified and freed from the reactions of fruitive activities by practicing bhakti yoga. Yoga randita karmano hridi yoga vibhavite yoginoyam prapashyanti yogesham tam natosmyaham. So, by appearing in that four-handed form, so it is said that when the Lord rushed to save Gajendra, he didn't even bother that his uttari is falling off. He felt Garuda was not quick enough to get to him, to the spot. And therefore from the distance he releases his Sudarshan Chakra to kill the crocodile. And then he personally picks up Gajendra. So he has got four arms, like does many things and gives pleasure. So, and that's how he gave solace to Gajendra. So when Dhruva Maharaj was meditating, what form was he meditating on? Four-handed Vishnu form. And he also followed this process which is given by Narad Muni. And that's how you see the meditation intensified and then led to samadhi, and that's when he was able to conquer the attention of the Lord and bring him, and the four-handed form came in on the back of Garuda when he wanted to offer prayer. So Dhruva Maharaj had the darshan of the Lord in his heart, and suddenly that form vanished, and he was under a lot of distress. But as he opened his eyes, that same form which he was meditating on was standing in front of him. So this 5-year-old boy, imagine, going to the forest, doing all the meditation, and finally he made it. He saw the Lord. But because he was 5 years old, he was embarrassed that he could not do much. Like, he goes and falls at the feet of the Lord like a rod. He embraces the feet of the Lord. He kisses the feet of the Lord. He wants to offer prayers, but as a 5-year-old, he is not able to. Then, that same anukampita, compassion, causeless mercy, the Lord touches Dhruva Maharaj with what? With his conch. Then Dhruva Maharaj comes back to his senses are enlivened, and in another section, Dhruva Maharaj's prayers, his words are quoted. Sthana abhilashi tapasi stitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam. Kacham vichinvan apidivya ratnam Swamin kritortasmi varamna yache. Sthana abhilashi. I wanted a position greater than Brahma. That is my abhilash. Tapasi stito aham. I got you. Tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam. I got you, my Lord. Your darshan, your presence, your beauty. That which can't be seen even by yogis, which is guhyam, which is topmost secret. I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but I have got a valuable diamond. Kacham vichinvan apidivya ratnam. Now I am completely satisfied. I don't want anything. So in the Bhagavatam set of prayers, we hear Dhruva Maharaj, Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prashuktam sanjivayat akila shakti darasvadamna Anyam cha hasta charanasvaranatvaga shravanatvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. So, the Dhruva Maharaj is praying, My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So this is how the Lord reciprocates according to the form that the devotee wants. So this is there in the prayer of Lord Brahma as well, where when the Lord Brahma is praying for creative energy, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hritsaroja ase shutekshita bato nanunata pumsam yat yat dhiya urugaya vibhavayanti tat tat vapuh pranayase sadanugrahaya. Yat yat dhiya dhiya is meditating. Your form, whichever form the devotee meditates on, tat tat vapu pranayase. Vapu is the transcendental form. Manifest sad anugrahaya, to show your causeless mercy. And this is what is being discussed as one of the themes here, as to how the Lord comes under the control of the devotion of his devotees and takes that particular form. And as we discussed earlier, philosophically, that these forms are eternally present in the spiritual world and these forms descend. So there is tattva and there is rasa as well. Depending on the rasa that you call out, accordingly the Lord comes. So in the 5th canto Bhagavatam, we'll also see the prayers of Hanuman, where he says that, Lord, you are so merciful that you are showing mercy to monkeys like us. He is putting himself in a very humble position. So he is praying to Sita Ram. This compassion of the Lord, when it comes in the form of protection, when it comes in the form of giving his darshan, when it comes in the form of protecting your body and protecting you from danger, it's nice. But there is also another causeless mercy of the Lord, which is when the Lord takes away everything from the devotee. Yasyaham anugrinnami harishye taddanam shanai tato ajanam tvajantyasya swajana dukkha dukkitaha. Ten 88:8. This is also causeless mercy. When that mercy comes, it's not easy to handle it. The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way he suffers one distress after another. Anugrinnahami, favor, compassion. And this compassion was shown to one devotee in the Bhagavatam. Anyone want to guess? He was gradually deprived of all the possessions he had, humiliated in public, arrested, everything was taken away, humiliated in public, in front of his wife, in front of his guru, in front of his citizens, everything was taken away. Okay. Avanti Brahmana, Yudhishthir Maharaj, okay. I was looking for Bali Maharaj. So Harish Chandra, I don't know if it's in the Bhagavatam, but Harish Chandra. Okay. So yeah, it comes in the form of Bali Maharaj was one example, and Srila Prabhupada in Lilamrita quotes himself, where his factory was burned down, family life, wife was not supporting, and at that time he decided. So we know the famous episode: either tea goes or I go. The wife chooses tea, Prabhupada chooses renunciation. So that he describes, I'm just summarizing, that's the end of my family life. Then when asked to take sannyas, so he'll get dreams where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will ask him to take sannyas. Prabhupada will say that he's frightened, how can I take sannyas? And then the dream comes more often. So later, Prabhupada will describe that's the special mercy. So I thought I'll preach in India, two big things, but everything was taken away, burnt down, paper was not given in India, government was not supporting, nobody was buying anything, and then, however, in all that darkness, as the situation becomes dark, the silver lining is that he gets the ticket to go to the US. So then that directs him in that direction is given. So he is shown a different direction. So when looking at that purport 1088.8, we will understand that the distress which the devotee experiences is not a consequence of his material karma, but is a loving reciprocation from the Lord. Because when the Lord wants to bestow some higher mercy, first of all, I am not qualified to speak on this topic. I myself a struggling sadhaka, but whatever I have learned from these sections I am describing. When a devotee when the Lord wants to give a devotee the next level, when he wants to take him to the next level, but the devotee holds on to some of his attachments very strongly, then there has to be some jolt to give up those attachments. Then, as Bhaktitirtha Maharaj writes, when we are holding on to something which we are too attached to, and we can't receive the mercy of the Lord to make us give up those attachments which we are holding on to and become free, so that our hands become free to receive the mercy, there will be some jolt. And that period which a sadhaka goes through is called the dark night of the soul. That's also the compassion of the Lord, so that you don't take shelter of anything else but just the Lord. Swajana dukkha dukkita. Everyone else, everything else is gone. It's just the Lord. We need to take shelter. So this particular section establishes that the sufferings which the devotee goes through may seem like karmic reactions, but it is specially orchestrated by the Lord, specific to this particular devotee, to rectify his mentality. I was expecting devotees were memorizing this Tatte Anukampam verse in the ashram yesterday. So in that verse purport also, Anukampita, Tattenu Anukampam. So in that section also, Prabhupada writes about Lord rectifying the mentality of a devotee by giving him specific tribulations which are custom made by him for that particular devotee, which may seem like karmic reactions, but it is not. That's also the causeless mercy of the Lord. Because such reactions, which may seem like karmic reactions, are distinct because, as one point, it is specifically designed by the Lord. It will last only to the point where the devotee's mentality has to be corrected, and it will not last longer than that. That's the second point. The third is, such reactions will not leave any trace of further desire in the heart of the devotee. It takes away that seed of desires also. Whereas a karmic reaction, you will face the reaction, but the seed of the desire will still be there. But if with a causeless mercy, a trouble or a distress is coming to you and you are experiencing, and it goes away, that seed of the desire also goes away. Example is Dhruva Maharaj. He saw the Lord, I said, now I don't want the kingdom. I am happy, satisfied. Varam na yache. So I'll read few sections in this. In every stage of devotion, however, the Lord watches over his devotee and sees to the gradual elimination of his karma. Thus, despite the fact that the happiness and distress devotees experience resemble other karmic reactions, they are in fact given by the Lord himself. Causeless mercy. So then the question may arise, why can't the Lord give the mercy without putting into suffering? So that also reason is given, that one may take the process very cheaply to maintain confidentiality, to bring out that rasa in the devotee. When there is extreme distress, you call, then the mercy comes. The example is given as that of summer season. Acharyas give the example of summer season, water tastes nice. Extreme winter, hot water is nice. So that's the rasa part. So this is how we understand the causeless mercy of the Lord. I'll conclude here. We've gone over time. There is the hall needs to be emptied. There is a marriage or something going to happen. So I'll take questions offline if that's okay. Yeah. Granthrar Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.